You're still watching the conversation on Lagos television. Opposition is pivotal to the strength of any democracy. As we speak in Nigeria today, the most viable opposition that we have in the country is the People's Democratic Party. And the party, of course, had its national convention in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, over the weekend. Despite court orders and injunction before the convention restraining the party from going ahead. This morning on the program, we have a lawyer in the building, and they will be giving us the legal perspective as to what transpired in Ibadan during the PDP's convention. Of course, we also look at the drama before that particular convention and see if indeed the opposition party is here to stay. We have joining us this morning, Bosun Oshifora is a lawyer, like I said earlier. It's a pleasure to have you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Prior to Saturday, we had different court orders and injunctions. One from Justice Lifu of Abuja Federal High Court, and the other from Justice Akintola of the Oyo State High Court, giving the PDP the permission to go ahead with that convention. Of course, we saw what transpired on Saturday. So for you, speaking legally now, what happened on Saturday at that convention? Was it a judicial genocide on behalf of the PDP?
What a word to use. Well, okay, first off, I think, I don't know what's happening to the PDP. It looks like a party that is going down.
Going down. They're still going down.
It's down. well, I think some people are just about to nail the coffin of the party because it's already down anyway. And basically what happened was the whole of last week we saw different injunctions, order of court, stopping, and then we saw another party going to get from another court to go ahead with the convention, which is not particularly good. And I'll tell you why it's not good. You remember a few years back, particularly the Zamfara issue. You know what they did? There was an injunction. Some people decided to go ahead with certain things. And at the end of the day, when everything came down to normal, the person who purportedly won the election was told that, see, the people who signed you in were not the appropriate persons. And at the end of the day, he lost. And someone else who literally felt it was over became the governor. So, and we've seen this play out over time. So, one of the things that happened last week was I had the former governor of Kwara, Bukola Saraki, said that, see, everybody needs to come together and sort out this litigation because we have seen this before, and it's going to vitiate whatever you're doing in the name of this convention. It's so bad that we learned that INEC was not even present there. Whether they were notified or not, we don't even know. Because by the Electoral Act, Section 82(1) says that if you're going to have any congress, any convention, any conference, you have to give a 21-day notice to INEC. Now, and that INEC is always there because INEC will give some reports regarding to observe and also to give a report. And the report is always pivotal to what happens afterwards. INEC wasn't there. Major stakeholders were not there. So it looked like a one-man show. So at the end of the day, you are having this thing also against the backdrop of a number of court orders stopping you from going ahead. And then you got from another court to go ahead. At the end of the day, what we will see is a litany of litigations, which is most likely to set aside what transpired on Saturday. Yes, because apart from the fact that the stakeholders were not there and all that, just this morning I saw a position where they said at Wadata Plaza there's going to be NEC meeting. That's National Executive Council.
From who?
So now which NEC? But this thing was signed by Ayahu,
who was expelled.
The former secretary who was expelled. And if you look at it, the secretary was not here. The secretary is supposed to convene the convention.
Right.
You had suspended him. The legal advisor to the party was no longer with this sect that did the convention. So it's like a convention that stood on one leg. So definitely has a go.
To cut into your thought here, but there's also a need to let our viewers, because again, you mentioned here that this particular convention was held against the backdrop of 2 or 3 court injunctions. I think would like to know, when you say court of coordinate jurisdiction, what exactly are we talking about? Because of course the Abuja court headed by Justice Lifo, the Ibadan court headed by Justice Akintola, again you would look at it, you hear high court is high court everywhere. But again, why do we always have issues with court of coordinate jurisdiction? What does that really mean?
Okay, court of coordinate jurisdiction means that the courts are of the same level.
Okay.
And a court cannot stop the other court
from giving a ruling.
Cannot give a contrary order to what a court. It's like we're mates, and you cannot do anything. If I had taken a position, you can't give a contrary position. What happens is that you have to go higher to a higher court, like Court of Appeal, to stop whatever has been given, whatever orders or injunctions or judgment you got from the lower court. But any court within the same rank cannot counter this other court.
So these 2 courts that we had.
So I'll now tell you what has happened. Now I think the court that gave the express order stopping the convention was from Justice Lifo. That was the first in time. Now, so, you know, the party is fragmented.
Sure.
Now, so a section now decided to do what we call in law forum shopping. Forum shopping means you're looking for a convenient place to get what you want. Now, so what happens is that perhaps the earlier order was given ex parte, that is, without the other party being present in court. Now, so all they're supposed to do is to appeal. But I think because of time, and they wanted to go ahead with the convention, so that was why they went into forum shopping, looking for a court. Now, the new court, I can tell you for free, that may not be seized of the order of Justice Lifo. So they came in and say this, and then they decided to go ahead, and the court will only decide based on what you present before it. Now, so you cannot blame the court, but at the end of the day, the court can set aside. Now, even without going ahead, if the other party goes to this court where the order for the go-ahead was given, they can come and present, they can file processes before the court, telling the court that, come, this thing was obtained by fraud. There was an earlier injunction from a court of coordinate jurisdiction. And I tell you, even the court has the powers to set aside
this particular order.
Yes, but well, as it is, the court has given the go-ahead for the convention, which has been done. But at the same time, I could tell you for free that by the time they go forward to higher courts, there's a likelihood you will see some drama. I cannot predict what the court will say, but there's a whole lot of drama. Serious.
But so from your explanation this morning, I was going to blame the judiciary because you have an injunction somewhere else and you got an order elsewhere as well. What exactly is the position of the judiciary when it comes to strengthening our democracy? That is one. And for Lamido that sued the PDP for not allowing him to get his nomination form, is there any merit in his case?
Yes, there is. If you look at the same section 81, it says that section 81 sub 3, it says that you notify INEC. The first one is section 82.1 says you notify INEC of
21 days.
of 21 days notification. Then the subsections 1, 2, 3 talks about that if you're going to have elective positions, it must be done based on fairness, and then INEC must also look into it and see that. Now, so in a situation where what you have done is you have sold, we learned from what Lamido said that one form was printed and it was sold to one person. So there was no other form. This is not the first time we're seeing it. We're seeing that in 1983 where Abiola was shut out in MPN, not allowed when form was sold to Shagaria. No, it's the trend in Nigeria, but he has merit. He was shut out. He was not supposed to. The law favors him. So there's lack of fairness. Lack of transparency in what was done. So the court will determine, but his case has merit.
Okay.
Now, so the judiciary strengthening democracy. See, the judiciary is the blame child here. Everybody will come and say judiciary this, judiciary that, but the fact is this. Number one, I've explained how the process works. You come to this court to get an order of court against a particular convention. Now, a section of you have also gone to another court to get something contrary. Now, what happens most times is that the court is not seized of the fact of what the judge will only work based on what is in front of him, based on what was filed. The judge cannot work on ESA or social media, yes, because a lot of times you find that some of these things too are not particularly real. We've seen people recant, we've seen people say things on social media, or even some, we've seen conventional medium retract information. Right. I think someone was said to have died last week. It was carried by everybody, both conventional and non-conventional. And at the end of the day, we saw what happened. The person came out and said, "I'm still alive." Now, so the court is not going to rely on what was said here. The court will only rely based on what was filed. Now, so if you were served, that's the other party, then it's for you to now file your counter affidavit and whatever supporting documents to show that, there was an earlier judgment, an earlier ruling from a particular court of coordinate jurisdiction. So if that is not before the court will only work based on what is before it. So it's sad that it's the politicians who are manipulating the system.
Judiciary.
Yes.
All right. Okay, we need to take a very short break, and when we return, the conversation continues. Thank you for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Of course, we still have our guest in the studio this morning, and we're still taking a look at the outcome of the PDP National Convention held last weekend. And our guest has been able so far to tell us, legal implications of, the convention, and peradventure, if this case were to go back to court, of course, what the likely outcome could also be. We still have our guest here, and we're still taking a look at, of course, what happened. But so let's quickly take a look at, Justice Leaford also asked that the INEC could not attend that convention because, again, the PDP hadn't kept his house in order. They had not conducted some congresses, state congresses, ward congresses, and did not have a right to conduct a national convention, which they went ahead to convene anyway. But if we take a look, what does the Electoral Act state concerning INEC and attending or monitoring the state convention of political parties?
The Electoral Act, like I said earlier, Section 82, specifically the Electoral Act 2022, Section 82(1) says that there shall be a 21 days notice to
prior
before the convention, congress, or conference.
Right.
That's expressly stated.
Okay.
Section 82, subsection 5 says that if you do not comply with subsection 1, that whatever you have done is what is there. The law is clear, it's black and white. So that's why I said that this convention is literally standing on one leg, if you go by the provisions of the law. Now what I do not understand is whether INEC didn't attend because they didn't want to attend, or the necessary notification was not given to INEC.
Right, or could it also have been because of the court order asking INEC not to attend?
Well, INEC is the electoral body.
Right.
And INEC is bound to obey the law. Right. INEC is a product of the law. So once they're served with that, I think it's just circumspect for them to pull back. Right. And then, I mean, sorry, they were being circumspect. That was why they pulled back, and regardless of whatever notice or notification they may have gotten. Right. But we were not told if the 21-day notice was actually given to INEC by those who convened the thing. And then, like you stated, there are positions before you even get up to the convention. You know, you start from the where, then all that. We're not aware that was done. And then what makes it more worrisome is the fact that you find out that the party has some founding fathers. All of them were literally missing. Right. And then what was what was funnier was the fact that it was Chief Bode George who raised the motion that
the expulsion
and removal of some persons, and he was seconded by the chairman, the party chairman from
your state.
No, I think what state?
Fintiri. One of the
governor
states.
Fintiri. Yes. Okay. Now the governor of the state now came out almost immediately to say that he was not a part. If the chairman of the party in your state seconded the motion, and the governor is coming out to say, so it shows you that all is not well with the party.
But still staying with the INEC not being there, INEC is PDP is also saying that it is an internal affair. It is their problem, and does not need court interpretation whether or not INEC should be there. But yet, if they needed other interpretations, they will run to the court. Is the PDP also not playing a double game here?
It's obvious because of the many interests that is at stake. Now, but I also tell you something. There have been also, you know, sometimes people interpret the law based on how it's convenient for them. Sure. Because there's a part of the law that says that INEC may or may not be there because it's pre-election affair of the party and the party. Yes, but there's another part of the submission of the Supreme Court that says that the report of INEC is pivotal to whatever happens afterwards.
Okay.
Now, so it's a dicey thing. If you say they may be there, they may not be there, but you say the report is necessary for us to know what we do much after that, then common sense tells you that the report is better to have there for you. So if they're not there, then that's why I said that it's not just a drama, it's going to be a series of drama that will come out of this.
It's good that we have established the fact that there is a lot of controversy surrounding the just concluded National Convention of the PDP, but give us the angle of the law as regards the expulsion of some members, prominent members of the party, Wike, you know, that is trouble for PDP, Ayodele Fayose and his likes. So what does the Constitution say about the expulsion of party members? I don't know if you have gone through the Constitution, excuse me, of the PDP as well.
Okay, basically, even without going through the party constitution or the laws of the party, what you have to understand is that a party has control over its affairs. A party has control over the people in the party. And every party has an admission process and an expulsion process. Now, so it's within the right of the party to actually expel. Now, so, but in expelling people, you have to be fair. You have to be transparent. The allegation against these persons have been that anti-party activities. Now, but there have been other persons, even even amongst these people who have been, the people who supposedly expelled these ones, some of them too have been involved in one or two anti-party activities. So who is expelling who? Who has powers to expel who? So these are the things that will be looked into. And then they also have the right to go to court and challenge the expulsion. That's why I said that I saw a notice. I don't know how true it's true, how true it is, but the notice was written by the former, I don't know now whether it's former or the secretary that we used to know, Ayahu, all right, now there's a new one. Now, but I'm saying that the meeting, the next meeting will be done at the same Wadata Plaza. Now, so I don't know how it's going to pan out.
Is it a season of litigation for the PDP?
I think it's a season for lawyers to smile. That's the only thing I've seen here. Because the only beneficiary of this imbroglio
is the judiciary.
Not the judiciary. The because some lawyers are just watching now. Okay, bring it up, just come up with whatever you have. But basically, I know a lot of people will challenge it, and then it's left for the court. That's why I say that some people actually want to nail the coffin
of the PDP.
Right.
Because, I mean, elections are literally around the corner. 2025 is gone. 2026 is the year for election activities, and the house is unsettled. Very, very unsettled. And what is amazing is that you don't have two factions. You have many factions.
There are many factions.
And they have their anger on different grounds. Now, so the fact that these ones can now sort themselves in the next maybe 1 to 3 months, you don't know what the next man is bringing, you don't know. So that's why I said that if the founding fathers don't come together and save this party, that might be the end of the largest party, once upon a time, the largest party in sub-Saharan Africa.
Right, so let's look at the non-compliance or the non-recognition by INEC to this particular convention. Of course, expressly stated, we do know that there was a large possibility that INEC was not represented at that event, because we even saw at some particular point in time that INEC was said to have been recognized, but then they later came back to say they were actually national election observers and not INEC members. So the party again stand the risk of non-recognition of this particular convention by INEC. And let's use the PDP as a yardstick. Now the PDP continuously has said it is an internal affair and will deal with it our own way. There are party constitutions, there are laws of the land, and what does this really portend for democracy generally when parties can also not follow due process of their own laws, guiding their own political parties, and then you think that this same set of people are the ones vying for political offices, vying to be national leaders? How then can they respect the law of the land?
There are two things here. One, it is bad, and two, you are creating a wrong precedent.
Right.
Because people who don't understand how things are done, if you go ahead with this,
which they've gone ahead anyway.
Yes, and it goes unchallenged.
Right.
You can rest assured that it will be done again. We just alluded to the fact that in 1983, MKO was shut out. He wasn't sold the nomination for, and we have seen that pattern play out over time, up to 20. That's some 40-something years after. So you should be careful in creating wrong precedents for people to follow, because they would, and particularly if you don't challenge, they just, that's the way these things are done.
It becomes a norm.
And secondly, it is bad for democracy, because if you don't follow the laws and then you want to elect people who will make laws for us, you are electing people who will execute laws for us, we can rest assured that the products that will come out of this unlawful acts cannot be the best for the nation. Right. So in the long run, you find that it's the nation that will suffer because of the quality of products that will come out of this what has been done. Let's use because I'm trying to look for the right words, but it's actually a shameful act. Very much a shameful act, because things are not supposed to be done like this. I mean,
sorry, just a follow-up to this will be the fact that, well, we're running towards the end of 2025. 2026 is more or less preceding an election year. And we do know how long also court cases take and litigations take. Is this also not a ploy at the end of the day that may be to the detriment of the PDP at the end of the day in vying or getting a candidate for the 2027 election?
And it is a plus
for other parties.
For another party. that's the implication of your statement, because it's detrimental to them.
Right.
It's detrimental to them because with the litany of litigation that will follow, except something is done and they call themselves, they ring themselves in. If they allow them to go on like this, you can rest assured that they will just be there back and forth until time will expire. We've seen that happen several times, where, you know, party conflicts will prevent them from actually coming together and doing what is necessary, and then they will be shut out because these things also have timelines for them to actually get on the fray. Now that's one part, and then the flip side of it is that it is good news for the other party, because there was something Jibril said at the beginning, that PDP is still the most viable opposition as it stands. We've seen other parties come and go. We've seen other parties try to come up, and those ones too, they're yet to find their footing. And if you're going for a general election in less than 16 months or 15 months time, technically, and you have not put in place the necessary structure, the ruling party will just, and then the ruling party with the power of incumbency, they will just coast them home and dry, and there won't be any problem for them. So I think it's the prayer of one party. You know, like they say in my native language, it's always like
another person who cannot move forward.
Exactly. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's also laughable because, I mean, these are veterans in the business. They should know how these things are done. But you see, selfish interests, you know, and then not wanting to allow the other person to have his way. Just thinking, some of those people, you know, so I was talking to someone this morning, and it was like, these people, they've been there forever. They've made money from this thing. That don't they? There's someone I think it was a conference, conference call, and somebody was like, haven't they made enough money? Another person said, don't they save? How much are you looking for? You know, so they need to make more money. Say, the ones you make, save it now, and then just leave the place. Let new people come in, because look at what happened in New York. A 35-year-old boy became the mayor of New York. 35 years old are still groping in the dark hair. They don't even know that. 35 years old are writing jump.
Now, where did you take this?
All hope lost for the PDP, or you feel that if common sense should prevail at the end of the day, they can still salvage what is left of the party, because as we speak, Lamido will not give up, and Turaki as well will not have peace to supervise the party.
You're breaking it down. But seriously speaking, like I said, it might be the end of the party, but if common sense prevails,
can they appeal to the likes of Wike, Ayodele Fayose, and himself?
It's not about appealing to those ones, because with what they've done, you created further friction and factions. Now, but what they need, that's why I keep referring to the fact that they're founding fathers.
So they need to reconcile.
Yes. So I feel that the likes of Chief Bodo George shouldn't even have joined the fray, you know, with the whole expulsion and all that. But even when it comes to things like that, he's the one also that they could call to wield the big stick. But I think it's, if they can come together, and if those who have the interests of the party actually come together, then they can save the party. But if that is not done in the next couple of weeks, you can rest assured that the party is going down. Then see the area of deflections,
Yes.
you know, from the party. And then these are credible hands. These are hands, reliable hands. These are hands, tested hands that you need. Everybody's jumping ship.
Right.
And then you're looking at them, nobody is calling them back. And then the ruling party is the bride.
And even some of the governors of the PDP did not attend the convention.
They didn't attend. Now, so what kind of
and
convention
some of them
is
also
that?
distanced themselves from the expulsion of
Those who attended didn't want to be a part of the decisions you made.
So then why attend the convention? Even though we had some of them even attending, saying that, well, they were even leaving the party.
No, so what happens is that sometimes, you know, you have an agenda. And then you now reach there, and the agenda didn't agenda.
So you have to pull out of the agenda.
You pull out of it. My hands are not there. I'm not a part of it. You know, so basically, that's what has happened with those who attended. Because before this, and you know, politics is like it's people don't forget what you've done.
Sure.
So you might think this is simple. You might think it's funny. You go and join the wrong camp. You just find out that you're doomed for all your political life. Right. That's why some people are quick, and then some people have second terms to do. So they need to quickly say that I'm not a part of this thing before it backfires, and then or it boomerangs, and you now find yourself on the wrong side of it. Because politics is funny. You take a decision now, and you find yourself in the wrong lane.
There was a statement credited to Ayodele Fayose, who had his birthday over the weekend, that initially said the PDP was dead but not buried. Then a week after, he said the PDP is dead and buried.
Yeah, I think they said the burial was actually at the weekend at the convention.
I think it's putrefying right now. Because it's a sad one.
Let's end on those notes. Ajibala earlier did say that, you know, as we speak, Turaki would have no sleep, and the Inyesom Wiki camp will also be bent on finding lasting solutions to these issues. But now that there's a new national PDP chair, based off this convention and this faction that conducted that convention, what should be paramount to the new national chairman of the PDP, even though, like you told us earlier, a NEC has been summoned. It was signed by Anyanwu, the PDP secretary who was expelled over the weekend, and which means that a faction of, they're still laying claim to the PDP, whether we want to believe it or not. And so if we have a new chair of the party, and I'm not sure they're even aware of this particular NEC or meeting that is being convened. So what should be paramount to Turaki as we speak? What are some of those things that he needs to start doing to close the ranks? Perhaps again, maybe they do not need to nail the coffin of the PDP at the end of the day.
It's not a bad situation so far. Okay, it's a bad situation. It's not as terrible as some people think it is, but it's a bad situation for the PDP. Now, but what I think is the new chair should go ahead and find a way to reconcile all the warring parties.
Okay.
But that is on the condition that those people want to be reconciled. Because you have somebody who, you know, Wike will die fighting. Somebody who can confront Soja. That's another good to do this. Is this a real life I cannot face? So, I mean, that's a lifetime that you don't disrespect to the honorable minister. But the fact is, I mean, we saw the confrontation last week, and you know, if somebody he won't back down. He will go down fighting. And so, even if the new chair wants to start reconciliation, it depends on even if he's recognized. You know, so it's a big one, and then the courts are there. Right. You don't know what will still come out of the courts. Right. So at this level, for me, that's why I keep calling on those who have the love of the party at heart. They need to rally around the party. Okay. And then for democracy to thrive, we actually need a viable opposition. Because, I mean, it took a viable opposition to get the PDP out of, you know, government. when the APC, you know, yeah, you saw how the current president actually sustained the fight as the opposition leader, and it paid off for them. So I think we need something like that, because if you don't have an opposition in any democracy, what you have is more of a one-party system. That is literally what we're gravitating to, because everybody's jumping ship and then joining the APC. It's good to an extent, because the more the merrier, but at the same time you just need an opposing voice, so always to keep people on your toes, and then make sure, I mean, make people know that, okay, there are alternatives to this thing. So if we don't have that, the death of PDP is not really good for the nation. So whatever it is, whether spiritual, physical, or psycho-spiritual, we need to do something, rally around and see how we can resurrect the PDP, because they said it's dead. So we've seen dead body of 3 days come out of the grave. So maybe we need a miracle
for the PDP to stay alive. Okay, we'll have to leave this conversation here this morning. Thank you so much, Boson Shifora, for finding time to be with us on the program today. But let's say how much the PDP can survive this particular situation, and perhaps also those who founded the PDP, who are still very particular about the life of the PDP, will rise and save the party from further destruction. That's the much we take on the side of the table this morning. We'll take a quick break. When the conversation returns, Joy and Adibingbe will be here. Joy finally made it into the studio this morning, even though when she came in, she was panting. Joy will tell you her story during their conversation.